Thank you, Mike. It's actually a privilege to be here. I might be busy, but this is the #1 industry in Pennsylvania, so there is no more important place for me to be but here. In fact, a lot of you may not know, but in our state party bylaws, a seat on our leadership committee is permanently assigned to the head of Ag Republicans. That's how important Ag Republicans and agriculture is to our party. It is a permanent seat that cannot be removed, and Mike has been serving in that position for several years, and I thank you for your service. Of course, I like coming to the farm show. It's the one time of year that I can have a real milkshake, the kind that the straw doesn't even get it all up in you. I did the best I could with it, and I had something today I'd never had before, a potato donut, and it was phenomenal. So, by the way, anybody here, if you run into my wife, I didn't, I had nothing but healthy foods, but I do drink whole milk. I always have. You know, this is a critical year. Every election, and every politician, like myself, says this is the most important year. I don't think anybody, you know, Congressman User and Congressman G.T. Thompson and the state reps who are here today would say every election, this is the one. But this one has something different about it, frighteningly different than those that we've faced in the past. For decades, maybe even a century or so, while the Democrats and Republicans did not always agree, there were certain core values that we did though share. Respect for the flag, our country, our nation, our capitalist free enterprise economy, the right of individual liberty, the ability to worship as we wish without being criticized or interference with it. But if you look at the Democrats who are running now for president, they want to completely change what it means to be an American. They're not looking to keep the nation just as a Democratic president versus a Republican. They're looking to change to a socialist economy where the government directs it. Talk about the agriculture industry. If they don't like whole milk, if they don't like some of the crops you're growing, if they don't like red meat, they can tell you you can't raise, produce it, and sell it. They want to manage not only the economy, but they also want to manage many of the things in their individual lives, decisions that we're used to being able to make, and respect for our nation and national security. So when you look at those Democratic candidates running for president, you listen to them. Tell me, do you hear some of those same values that we've had since our nation was founded? And in fact, I was telling some of the folks here before the meeting started, I got some phone calls from some Democrats in Fayette County, Pennsylvania, 5th generation Democrats, called up and said, we are switching. We want to come out and support the president and Republicans because we watched that last debate and there was not a single Democrat on that stage. And that is one of the key reasons that we have to be vigilant this year. As far as the agriculture industry, I'm proud to say my son got married last month, finally, thank God. I got 2 daughters, by the way, if anybody's in the market. They're tough. They're tough. They take after my wife. I'm well trained. But my son married into a family. His in-laws are farmers in California, in Bakersfield. Wow. And they grow pistachios, almonds, and they do soy, and they grow olives as well. And they were telling me, I went out to visit with them, what you said, Mike, and what George said in your remarks earlier, that the industry is beset with so many regulations, so many things coming at it from all sides. You don't even know how you're being attacked. That they are 5th generation themselves farmers, and they struggle because every day they find out, oh, you can't do this. You have to change this kind of water here. It's becoming one of the most highly regulated industries in America today. Now the president, you know, as you heard, pushed, and it was his baby, the U.S.-Mexico-Canadian agreement. He pushed it hard, he promised it, he negotiated it, he said he would replace NAFTA, he did. The House, thank you, Dan Muser and GT, and the other members of the Republicans in Congress who voted for it, passed the House. You need to call when you see Senator Toomey on Saturday. Tell him the Senate needs to as well, Mike.
Exactly right.
And it's critical and important for the agriculture industry. It will increase your exports nationally for all of us. It will help us here in Pennsylvania because it will help the dairy markets and poultry, big portions of Pennsylvania's agriculture industry. Now, I'm saying this not to brag or anything like that, but I want to tell you about something that happened on December 9th, the day before the announcement of the USMCA by Congress and passing the House. The president had invited me to come down to the White House to meet with him to talk about Pennsylvania and the election. We are probably right now the most important state for his reelection. No Democrat in modern history has won the White House and lost Pennsylvania at the same time. They have to win Pennsylvania. President Trump won it last time. I did his recount. 44,700 votes. But he won. First time we had won that state in a long time. I know he's going to win by more votes, but this was critical enough that he would invite me to come down to talk about our state and our economy. And we talked, and that was the first time I'd heard from him. He told me that the next day, that Tuesday, was going to be the announcement on the USMCA. So I was very proud to be there that day. It was like a historic thing, and I thought to myself, that's Pennsylvania, that's the agriculture. And when you talk about this industry, you know, GT's here, so I'm going to embarrass him a little bit, but he did something smart. Years ago at State Committee, he got up and he asked us, he said, what's the #1 industry in Pennsylvania? And the list went from everything from retail, energy, you know, all kind, banking, education, healthcare. I mean, the whole list. Now, some people in the audience didn't say, because they knew what GT was looking for. Then he said, it's agriculture. I mean, here in Pennsylvania, people don't realize how critical and how important it is to our state and our economy. And it still, to this day, is. Now, what I want to talk to you briefly about is, what are we going to be doing as a state party for this election that's coming up? Well, we started already. We've been recruiting candidates for the 3 important, what they call row offices. Attorney General, because right now we have an Attorney General who really wants to be governor, so he's just sort of occupying that thing as a temporary spot, not enforcing the laws. Auditor General, which is a critical check and balance on the governor, and this governor needs that, and the Treasurer of Pennsylvania that runs many important programs in this state. And we've been recruiting. You have today Dennis Stuckey here, who's running for the Auditor General position. We have candidates coming forward. Why? Because this past November, we won one of those judgeships. Megan McCarthy King won those Superior Court. I went to her swearing in on Friday. People now know and believe that Republicans can win statewide in Pennsylvania again after what happened last time. We are aggressively working on those candidates. I think we'll have a great slate. We will finance them, and we will make sure that they get elected. In addition, we looked at the congressional seats. We have right now in this state, well, it's a 9-9 split because the Supreme Court decided to take it away from the legislature and just redraw a map on its own. They drew a map that they told us was going to be in favor of the Democrats. They weren't shy about it. One of the justices from Pittsburgh, he campaigned and said, we had him on video, the map is going to elect more Democrats. And it did. It went to 9-9. We had been 13-5. One of those seats, Susan Wild in the east, in the Northampton-Lehigh area, I'm confident we can beat her. We have a great shot against Connor Lamb. We have a tremendous candidate. We can win there. We can win Cartwright's seat. There are other seats that we will be aggressive on and fight. We are not going to concede anything. Just because the Democrats had success last year, that was in 2018. I mean, I forget already that the year has changed. But in 2018, Donald Trump was not on the ballot then. He's going to be on that ballot, which will help us. This impeachment thing will help us because Connor Lamb and all the other Democrats in this state, in Congress, voted for the impeachment. In districts like Matt Cartwright's as well, that he won overwhelmingly. The same in the state Senate and the state House. We do believe the state Senate, on January 14th, there'll be a special election, and we're confident we'll win. We'll go up 29-21. It's one away from our high water mark of 30 that we had recently. But the Democrats have targeted state senators. We have already met with Jay Corman and Joe Scarnati. We're working to help him not only save some of them and protect them, but aggressively go after Democratic incumbents. Same in the State House. The State House, I believe, can pick up 5 seats. We've had about 8 or 9 retirements recently. One I'm trying to work on, but that's not an unusual number to happen. But we are confident that we can pick up some of those seats that we lost in 18, because some of them are in districts that the president won by more than 60% of the vote. In 18, he was not on the ballot. In 20, he's on the ballot. So there are 5 districts, 5 state house districts, that President Trump won by about 60% to as high as like 78%. Those Democrats will be defeated with the candidates we have in 2020. Having a strong Republican majority in the state Senate and the state House protects your industry as well, because Governor Wolf is shown that he is in favor of highly regulating businesses. He does not have the same interests that you have, and to have those state senators and state reps, I tell you, will be a protection for you in this process. Now, what can you do to help us? The most important thing is, and I'm not going to ask for money, that's my job, but voter registration. Voter registration is key. There are 1.5 million Pennsylvanians are not registered to vote. 1.5 million. This is an area that we have to go after. And you know why a lot of them aren't? Probably because they're fed up, sick and tired of the establishment, the swamp as the president calls it, sick and tired of unresponsive, the Democratic leadership and all that's out there. We need to go out and target and register more Republicans. I have a goal of 150,000. Yes, that's only 10%. But the president won by 44-some thousand. If we can get 150,000, it'll almost be a landslide. I ask you to help with that. You register 2, 3, 4 people. Whatever you register is a cumulative important value for all of us. I know Representative Zimmerman is here. I've talked with him. He's been very active in his area with the plain folk and how to reach out to some of them. But there's all of us know people who may not be registered, but you have to tell them, if you want this country to go into the socialist path, still sit on that sofa and do nothing. We need people who will get up and do something, and registering to vote helps. Mobilizing your agriculture grassroots would be vital to us. Make your army of agriculture industry team members, including not only you yourselves who are the farmers, but all your allied industries who supply you and work with you. Make that a team grassroots effort. Make farming the #1 issue amongst them to go out in this election like this. And then the last thing is, I'd ask you to keep us informed at the state party. Tell us about some of the critical issues. Is there something that we can help you with? Are there articles, op-ed pieces we can publish? Are there areas in which we can go in and help you with a rally or an event or something because you have something that you need to point out for the agriculture industry? I just set up and formed, and in large part because of Irene Harris, it was easier to kind of address a problem that she raised with me than to continue to get her phone calls. And by the way, you're lucky, yours are only at 9 o'clock at night. Hers are much later than that. A state legislative review committee. And this is a committee of state committee members. It's headed up by Clay Brees, the chair from Berks. Vice chair is Stacy Wallace from McKean County. The purpose of which is to monitor legislation in the State House and Senate. Not to second guess our legislators, but to see things that are coming through where we can either mobilize to help our Republicans and get things passed, or to help you in your industry if there's something that's coming through that is maybe a problem, can be alerted. But we need information. We need to be told. Harrisburg is not the center of the world. I'm not criticizing our elected officials. I'm talking about me and the party. We're not the center of the world. You are out there in the world. You need to tell us. You need to be vocal. I take phone calls. I answer the phone. I take text messages. It's important that you tell me. You remember, I'll say what I said at the beginning of this. You are Pennsylvania's #1 industry. There is no more important industry for me to be out there supporting and helping than yours. So you call me, they have my text and cell phone numbers, Irene certainly does. Reach out. We want to make sure that the agricultural community in Pennsylvania stays strong for our nation's health as well as for us here in the Commonwealth. It is a privilege that you invited me here today. You know, I even wore the rubbers so that I could go down there without getting last time I got my shoes all messed up, but I have to tell you something. I love it down here. I told Charlie O'Neill, who's my communications director for the parties here, I wish all Pennsylvanians could come and see this. We don't know what our state has in your industry. And I would, if I were still on my school board, I'd make this a mandatory field trip. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And I hope to be able to work with you going forward in 2020. Thank you.